Interesting. This is gonna be a very long take. Let's go through a lot of footage. Welcome back, Junior Archaeologist. Welcome to a video that I'm gonna call 10 things you should get rid of. Because there are certain things, certain pieces of field gear, certain clothing ticks and habits that I just see over and over again among new archaeologists and old archaeologists. Huh. The first thing I want to say, this isn't a fashion video, even though I'm going to start off with clothing. It's just Thanksgiving, and such a lovely view. And even though there are planes flying overhead and cars constantly driving by, I figured you guys deserve a pretty backdrop for this video. So you're welcome. But first thing on my list is socks and underwear with holes in them. I still can't believe I even had to list that as like a first video, But I know too many people, they just can't bring themselves to get rid of that sort of stuff. I don't know why. You know, when you think about it, you buy that stuff, it doesn't have holes in them because they're not supposed to have holes in them. So get rid of that stuff. Not only is it gross, but you know, when you think about it, socks with holes in them, they usually get holes right where you need cushioning or right where you're going to get a blister. So that's first thing on my list. All right, so the second thing I see a lot or have to talk about are boots. And there's a lot to say about that. Or, you know, shoes, if that's, you know, what you wear when you're working. But I see so many people walking with worn out boots, it's almost ridiculous. So first off, if you have boots that have replaceable soles, and usually you can look that up online, you know, just like type in the model of the boot or shoe you have, and then, can I get these resold? You know, and usually you can find out. But basically, if your boots or shoes can be resold, get them resold. For me, at least where I live, a new pair of heels are like, what, 30 bucks? And a complete resole is like $100. And if you're like paying like $300, $400, $500 for a pair of boots, and you could extend the life of them, you know, by like years. Like I've got some boots that are 10 years and counting. Just because I get them resold like every other year or so. And by resole, I mean like sometimes I get, like I usually go through, oh, wait for this plane to go by. And so many birds today too. Anyway, you know, I find that I go through like, what, 2 or 3 new heels and then 1 resole every like 5 years or so. So when you think about it, it's actually surprisingly cheap. That's like a pretty good deal. So, you know, there's no real excuse to walk around in worn out boots, or at least boots with worn out soles. And if your boots can't be resold, well, you know, you still shouldn't be walking on them because, you know, nothing leads to foot injuries or slipping and falling faster than worn out soles. And I've literally seen people like duct tape their boots, like put duct tape around their boots, which, you know, to keep their boots together. You know, which works for an emergency, but not like, you know, not like something you should do like a whole project on. And yet I've seen that. But think about it. When you're duct taping boots, oh my God, like you don't even have any tread anymore. The other thing I've seen are people who walk with holes in the side of their boot or shoe. Usually it's just shoe, because some people really like trail runners. So I've seen people with like walking along with holes. Like literally you can see their socks on the side of their shoe, which is also crazy because first off, you're letting in dirt, you know, which leads to blisters and, hot spots and chafing. And secondly, it's gross. It's like the second one in a row where I've talked about grossness, but it's true. Maybe it's because I'm the sort of field tech who takes a shower every day. I realize there's some people out there who don't. But yeah, that's my number 2. Replace worn out boots and shoes. And I said that with special emphasis because, whatever. One thing I did want to add is mind the safety toe boots. One thing I see, especially in my own safety toe boots, is that they usually get like a hole or a tear, like right above where the safety toe is. And usually, the boot's perfectly fine. You don't have to get it replaced or anything. But some safety people will consider that a violation, especially if you're on a stricter job site. And shoe glue doesn't cost a lot of money, like $10. So as soon as you start seeing a little hole or a little tear, just throw some shoe glue on there. That should do. That'll usually get you by any safety person. All right, number 3 on my list is old rain gear. I understand how it is. It's like the end of the field season. You just throw stuff in your storage unit, in your closet or whatever. But you should definitely check rain gear before you head out. Sometimes you put a hole in it and you're like, I'll get that replaced for the winter, and you forget. Other times it just stops working. Like, especially if it's super old. Like, I've got stuff like, I work in the Great Basin, and usually it snows, so, I don't use rain gear a lot, and even when it does rain, it's usually too hot to wear rain gear, so, like, literally I'll put on my rain jacket, 4 or 5 days out of a whole field season. But, yeah, don't forget to check rain gear, make sure it's still working. Some stuff you can just, spray new waterproofer on, or I've got, the stuff that's, made out of wax cotton that I can reproof every once in a while, even though I've never had to reproof it. But yeah, number 3, old rain gear. One thing I will add, if you haven't shopped for rain gear for a while and you're like, oh my god, I love this thing, I don't want to get rid of it, you might be surprised at how awesome new rain gear is. That's like the thing I keep finding out when I've been replacing stuff, is that, stuff does improve. Sometimes it's even, sometimes it's more expensive, but sometimes it's cheaper. Like, you pay less and you get better stuff than you could have gotten years ago, like when you started your career. So, more encouragement to get new rain gear. All right, last thing, at least among the clothing you should replace, is safety gear. Just in case you weren't aware, and I wasn't aware of this until this year, hard hats actually wear out. I'll probably try to find and display a photo of it, but there's actually an expiration date on your hard hat, around the rim. There's an actual expiration date, and if you're on a particularly strict job site and a safety person comes by and looks at your hard hat, they definitely will know where that is and if your hard hat's expired or not. And obviously some people they do the test where they put the hard hat over a lamp or something, but yeah, usually I would probably just go by expiration date, because who has a lamp in the field? And I realized that for me at least, the hard hat I had that was super old and needed to be replaced 5 years ago, it's really sentimental. It's got all sorts of safety stickers and stuff, but trophy, hang on the wall or something. Another thing, going further down in terms of safety equipment, is safety vest. Obviously you can tell when something is worn out just because it's faded. Now, I've always been unclear as to whether it really matters if your safety vest is faded or not, as long as the reflective stuff is all right. Because I've literally seen safety vests, they're called safety vest, and safety people are wearing them and they're black, but they have the reflective things on them, and I'm that's a safety vest? And they're well, it says safety on it. I'm all right. So maybe the orange or the yellow or whatever part doesn't matter, as long as your reflective stuff is like all right. Or alternatively, just replace it. I know this is like a video about replacement stuff, but like my main safety vest, I love it. And like I know plenty of people get attached to their safety vest, which always makes me, question why, people like, I love this vest, blah, 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 blah. And yet they don't ever get holes repaired. It's like, it doesn't cost a lot to get. It doesn't cost a lot to bring it to like your dry cleaning place or like an alterations place and say, hey, there's a rip here. Can you repair it? So, replace safety vest or get it repaired. Oh, damn it. Of course that went out. Anyway. On to number 5 and on the field gear. Number 5, field gear. This is like general, like all field gear. Because, there's always something that you've broken or something. Like a compass that has an air bubble in it, or maybe some measuring device. Or a clipboard you cracked, you sat on it and you cracked and you totally forgot about it. But yeah, replace that stuff. I don't know what else to say about that. Other than, I feel like that should be obvious and that people do it anyway. But I always see people who are like, oh my god, I had this compass in field school, even though it has an air bubble in it and it's like 10 degrees off. I'm still going to use it. Which is fine until like, you're the person whose row of shovel test is like 10 degrees off. And everyone else is going in a straight line. So don't be that person. Replace field gear. Anyway, number 6. We're using gallon water jugs. I don't know what it is with people and gallon water jugs. It's like, if you're gonna reuse a water bottle, get a smaller one. Like usually what I see is that either A, people try to stuff those things in their backpack and it doesn't fit, or the first time they fall over, it breaks, or alternatively, when they fall over and they're like carrying it, they'll like put their hand down and suddenly no water jug and no water for the rest of the day. Another thing I see is that people, they don't want to fill it the whole way. They don't want to fill it like halfway. They usually just put like that much water in it and then suddenly they got no water for most of the day. Alternatively, they fill it up the whole way and it's heavy and they're like, I don't want to carry this. So they usually just leave it in the vehicle. So next thing to get rid of, number 6, gallon water jugs. For God's sakes, buy a Nalgene or buy a, I don't even know what sizes those are. Like a quart or whatever. But, buy a smaller one. Alright, number 7. Number 7, I feel like... Number 7, by the way, is get rid of your old phone. I feel like that's more for the older field tech or for the cheaper field tech. But basically, a lot of companies these days are switching to digital recording. Either like recording the field forms or, collecting data on Art Collector, Esri Collector. Well, whatever, Collector, basically. And, that's what, I was given, one of my last projects, I was given a giant tablet. I'm like, I'm not carrying this. So I downloaded Collector on my phone, and that's how I recorded sites. But if you have an older phone, two things are going to happen. Either A, the version of Android it's going to have, especially since I've seen field techs with like crazy old phones, but the version of Android that's like on their phone is like too old to like run any recent version of Collector, and so it'll just be like, I can't run this. Download something else. Like I'm not even joking, like it probably won't even open. The other thing I see is that, and it happened on the project I was on in Arizona last spring. Basically, this poor field tech, he had to like delete pretty much everything on his phone to like use the company required apps, because his phone was like super old, and if you're worried about like, oh, a new Android or a new Samsung costs like $1,000, phones drop value really quickly. Like the phone I'm recording this video on, I bought for like $100 last spring. It's an LG V30, and they're up to the V50, and that's why it cost $100. Like things go in and out of fashion so quickly that you can get a surprisingly good phone for like $100. So there's really no excuse. newish phone. New to you phone. Yeah. Anyway, that's number 7. Alright, number 8 is almost along the same line. So basically, get a newer laptop. Hang on. Sorry. Get a newer laptop. You know, when I first started this job, things like timesheets, expense sheets, you know, those were still handled in paper. Like, I can still remember, like, filling out an expense sheet and having to, like, you know, on a, like, a paper form, and then having to tape all the receipts below it. And then, you know, we'd all have to spend, like, the last day of a 10-day session just, like, faxing in receipts and faxing in timesheets, etc., etc. But most companies nowadays require you to fill those out electronically. And I remember there's a project I started last fall, actually right around this time last fall. And for the first time ever, I had to fill out, you know, I had to file reports and fill out timesheets, etc., etc. And I tried that on my phone originally, but that did not work out so great, especially the reporting form. They had some sort of weird browser-based thing, and it totally was not working on my phone. So I eventually had to break down and buy a new a new-to-me laptop. And if you're looking for a recommendation for, like, laptops, you know, I found out that older business-grade computers are actually great. Like, they're not that expensive, and most business-grade computers are made to be repaired, and they're easy to find upgraded, so you can get, like, a really powerful, like, I personally bought a couple of Lenovo ThinkPads. They're like, what, $200-$300 a pop? And they each have 500 gigabyte SSDs and 16 gigabytes of RAM, and at least one of them has like a Core i7 Intel processor. So it's a pretty awesome computer. It's actually, I only paid like, what, $300 for it? Maybe 400, I forget. But anyway, you know, if you're not acquainted with it, and I don't know why you'd be watching this video if you're not, but if you are, yeah, you might need a newer laptop, unfortunately, because they're not just for emails anymore. They're actually for work. Like, work. Number 9, something I'm guilty of, something a lot of people are guilty of. Throw away expired food and expired medicine. You know, I feel like most people, what happens is that they just kind of, at the end of the field season, they don't want to deal with any of their crap anymore, so they just throw it in the closet or in their storage unit or whatever. But don't forget to check that stuff before you head out for the first project of the season. You know, food. Food, I feel like, you know, there's always different advice on that, but, you know, it's like expiration dates are made up and blah, 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 but yeah, don't take a chance on that. Throw that stuff out. And as far as medicine goes, I know that stuff doesn't technically expire. I mean, it expires, but, you know, it just loses potency. It doesn't, like, go bad and it won't kill you. But, like, if you're the sort of person who has to, like, take an ibuprofen in the morning to, like, get yourself going, keep yourself from hurting throughout the day, the last thing you want is, like, to take expired ibuprofen that's now half strength. Or maybe it's half strength and you don't really know. But, yeah, number 9 is get rid of expired stuff. Alright, number 10. It's almost under the same vein, but slightly different. Don't forget to pack right for your project. Specifically, I'm talking about cooking stuff. Like, I know plenty of people who, like, they have their giant cooking bin, their tub of cooking stuff, and, like, that's their cooking stuff. Like, they bring it everywhere. But if you know for a fact that you're going on, like, a camping project, or you're going to be in a motel for, like, next, like, the whole field season or something, take stuff out. Like, too many times I see people who, like, have bought a jet boil and, like, they're like, oh my god, I spent so much money on this and I'm going to use it no matter what. And then they try to use it in a motel room. Hopefully I'm making a face right now because that's stupid. Even though I know too many people who do that, but it's stupid. Conversely, I know plenty of people who, like, you know, always bring their Instant Pot everywhere, even though they're going to be, like, camping for, like, 4 months. Don't be that person. You know, be minimalist. Alright guys, I'll step out of the way now, let the view speak for itself. Hopefully that video was short for you, because it totally wasn't for me. So many takes today, you don't even know. Anyway, if you found that video useful, or enlightening, or entertaining, hopefully entertaining, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I don't even know. Maybe I should come up with a signature way to close these videos, but whatever. I'll see you guys next time.